it's MK, and I am here for another 31 days of cut files with Janet and MK, and today we are doing this adorable little title said Discovering Nature. I could not wait to put this title on a page. I cannot wait to play with it again. I love it. So I've got some Minte pieces from Into the Woods. I also have a ton of flair by Scrap and Happy Studios because I loved her monthly box that matches the nature study. For $49 in market, but I'm going to use it with a bunch of mishmashed pieces. So I've also got some P13 leftover wood grain from a pad that they had. From $49 and market Serendipitous, I have these 3D like acetate pieces. I'm not really sure, you guys. I've had them forever. I think I have 5 photos. Yep, count them, 5. And then from Simple Stories, I have these. I believe they're from Indigo something. Oh, Indigo Garden. That is what they're from. And I just like that bluey green look to them because they really match the trees in my background. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to create a 2-page layout in case you didn't notice that already, because I've got 2 pieces of my Indigo Garden. I never picked up this whole collection. I just picked up a few pieces here and there. I'm also going to use the packaging from my 49 and market embellishments. I love this because their coloring goes all the way through. Even though I've got a little bend in my packaging, it's okay. It will lay down perfectly flat. But I do like the fact that I was able to not even cut my photos down and have a small little border going on the top and the bottom. So I think I cut these at 6 1/4 each. And I just really liked having that extra paper to play with. It's actually more like cardstock. It's more like cardboard because it's pretty thick paper, thicker than their usual 49 and market paper. All right, so here's where I decided that I didn't like this photo not standing out. It needed a little something else. So I went into my stash and pulled out this 6x6 papers that I received as a table gift at one of the retreats that I went to. And I believe it's a Felicity Jane in the Aspen collection. I'm not really sure. Thank you, Cindy. It was from Cindy, and she gave me the papers and the embellishments to match. And I really wanted to use that yellow on the other side, but this peach pink color, it's really peach and pink. It really is. But I really liked it because it matched my 49 and market acetate pieces. So I really wanted to do that. So I'm going to fiddle with these for a little bit. I cut this out because it did take me quite a bit because apparently I don't tear straight. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to make them match and how to get them to go straight across. And it's like, oh, you didn't tear them straight across. Way to go, girlfriend. Yeah, that's me. So I'm going to go ahead and fiddle with these just a little bit and try to make them match. I'm not too worried about closing the gap entirely because by the end of the layout, I don't even notice it. So there we go, all done and nifty. I did match up the 2 sides, even though there's going to be a gap in my layout because of the album. I did match up the 2 sides so when the layouts lay together for picture's sake, they look cohesive all the way across. Now to back my cut file, I don't know what, I lost my word for a second. I'm just going to back the word nature in this beautiful soft wood grain and just the entire thing. Nothing too fancy, nothing too, interesting. I'm not the kind of backer of cut files that I need to back every single letter. Now, I will do that on occasion, but mostly it's not my thing. I like all the letters to match, really, because my eyes have a hard time focusing when all the letters are chaotically different colors. That's just me, though. I love looking at it for other people, but in my own personal album, I love them to match. And then one of the great ways to get them to match and the pattern line up entirely is to just glue them all down together at the same time and then trim them out or use a razor to get in between all the little pieces. Now I'm going to take my alcohol markers. Excuse the phone call. I'm going to take the alcohol markers and color in my little leaves. I'm using, I think, dark moss or some mossy meadows or something like that, an old olive, in my blenders. Now, I love using alcohol markers because it soaks right into the page, and then gives me a mottled look, if that makes sense. So some of it might be darker where I overcolor, some of it might be lighter where I undercolor. I only put one brush stroke down instead of 12. It just varies, and it gives me that naturalistic nature look because not everything is the exact same color all the way through. Or cartoony, I should say. And so then, of course, I absolutely love when I go back over and make the lines in it, because then it looks like I almost took the ink out of doing that. So I really just like how that turned out and looked. And it's not very hard. Yeah. So I gave my cut file personality without working real hard at it. All right, so I'm going to take these Minte chipboard pieces. Now this is also from, I believe, Into the Woods, or Woodland. It might be Woodland. Yeah, I'm not really sure. But I really wanted to just basically use up all of these cute little critters because I don't really have an excuse to use cute little critters on a layout. All my kids are grown, and I've already done all their little stuff before I had all these cute things to play with. So anyways, I just decided that I really liked these watercolory animals, and I really wanted to add them, and they go beautifully with Scrap and Happy Studios flair. So I just could not pass that up. So what I'm doing now is just getting the lay of the land. So I'm laying everything out the way that I envisioned it, and then altering as I go. So that one piece with the flower and the glittery green leaves just was too big, so I had to cut apart one of the leaves and repurpose it, which I like it even more. I do want to add a little bit of dimension because the chipboard just wasn't enough for me. So I'm going to add some foam on my title as well as on my, it's not really a focal photo, but it is the only photo going the opposite direction. So these pictures are actually from us walking away from the Devil's Post piles I'm not sure if they're in Bishop or Mammoth, California, but we had to get to Mammoth to get to the Devil's Post piles. So maybe they're in Mammoth. So yes, we walked up to the top of the post piles, and then on our way back, we kind of took our time and went a little bit more adventurous. Like I walked all the way down to this little stream going on here, took a few pictures. There are some rock formations down in amongst the trees around. They're not exactly the same formation as the post piles, but they have that look like they broke off, but they're almost a mile away. So I thought that was pretty cool. To see all these really cool rock formations. Now, I clearly couldn't stand in the river. I could have, yes, but didn't want to stand in the river and actually take a picture of them head on so you could see their hexagonal shape. But they're there, I promise. They are there. One of these days, I will actually get to scrapbooking the post piles so I can talk about them and tell you some sciencey stuff. Yeah, nature's cool, you guys. I have to say, it is the coolest stuff ever when it comes to the things that nature does and what it creates. It's just awesome. All right, so I went through my Scrap and Happy Studio Flair, and I picked out my mushrooms. I picked out another cute little animal it was a mouse standing next to mushrooms because I have my mushrooms down at the bottom, so I couldn't pass up the cute little mouse. But one of the mushrooms was blue, and it really didn't blend with the rest. So that little guy's not going to get used. And then I also picked out 2 canvas flares. So I got my little mouse and then one that says look around, because that's what we do when we go on nature hikes. And I'm actually going to smush that flare so it's a little bit on the thin side. Now I just pulled out my Stampin' Up! Die cut machine. I had to switch from my Altenew one to the Stampin' Up! One. I actually was a little too rough on the Altenew one, and it broke in half. And so, yeah, go me. And so I thought that the Stampin' Up! One looked a little bit more beefier. So I'm going to give it a try before purchasing another Altenew one. Plus the Altenew one was out of stock when I needed one. So that also was a determining factor. So anyways, I went and I smushed my flare down. So now it is nice and thin. It fits right behind my Discovering Nature. And the little mouse kind of hides inside there. I absolutely love that. I picked out a couple epoxy flares as well. Now with the epoxy flares, it is highly recommended not to use any liquid glue, because what it will do is the image behind the epoxy will warp, and then it'll cause it to come apart or come off of the epoxy. So don't do that. I just use glue dots, and they work perfectly fine, or foam dots, depending on where I'm putting it. Like the one that, I can't remember what it says. What a view is what it says. Down by the end of my E, I actually ended up using a foam because of the fact that my nature word and my photo is on foam. All right, so last but not least, I'm going to take what 49 and Market calls wishing bubbles and scatter them throughout, because I thought that they matched the flare really, really well. So it goes with my circular theme. I've got 3 tree rings-ish going on. If you look past the cute little animals and mushrooms, I've got circular elements going on throughout this entire layout. So I thought that adding more of that would just be the perfect final touch. So deciding that was enough, I decided that this is it. My layout is complete. I absolutely love this color scheme, you guys. I am loving the peaches. I really am. And I'm trying to use more of it in my layout, but it's really not my, in my layouts, but they're really hard to find. They really are. So anywho, that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me. I really, truly appreciate it. Please be sure to check out the 2 links that I have down below for 31 days. One is a YouTube playlist, and the other one is into the Facebook group. Oh my gosh, you guys, we are almost at 1,000 people. I never in a million years would have imagined that many people interested in cut files. That is so awesome, you guys. Thank you so very much. And last but not least, don't forget to go check out Janet Fritz's channel. I saw her layout already this morning, and I loved it. Oh my stars, it's gorgeous. So don't forget to go check out how Janet used her title, Discovering Nature, and I will check you guys all later. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.